Welcome, fellow seekers of the mysterious and the supernatural. Today we embark on a chilling journey to the Grand View Hotel, a weathered sentinel standing against the relentless sea, concealing within its walls a tale of tragedy and redemption. The weathered sign of the Grand View Hotel creaked in the coastal wind, a rusty lullaby against the symphony of crashing waves. Eleanor, bundled in a scarf against the November chill, eyed the imposing Victorian structure with a mix of trepidation and morbid fascination. She was a writer, drawn to this desolate stretch of Maine coastline by the whispered legend of the Weeping Lady, a ghost said to haunt the Grand View's halls. 20 years ago, on a stormy November night identical to this one, a young woman named Amelia took her own life within the hotel's walls. The details were murky, whispers of heartbreak and financial ruin swirling around the tragedy. But what truly captured Eleanor's imagination was the manner of Amelia's demise. Hanged from the ornate chandelier in the hotel's grand ballroom, the silk of her crimson dress swirling like macabre curtains around her still form. The hotel had been closed for years, succumbing to neglect and whispers of the Weeping Lady. But recently, a new owner, a man named Silas, with eyes like chips of ice and a smile that never reached them, had reopened its doors. Eleanor, posing as a curious tourist, had managed to snag the only room available, a dusty corner suite overlooking the endless, churning sea. Sleep wouldn't come. The wind howled like a mournful banshee, rattling the windows, and the mournful creaks of the old hotel seemed to weave a tapestry of Amelia's final moments. In the dead of night, Eleanor swore she heard it, a soft, keening sob that drifted through the air, cold and spectral. It tugged at the edges of her sanity, whispering tales of sorrow and despair. The next day, exploring the cavernous halls, Eleanor stumbled upon the ballroom. Dust motes danced in the pale slivers of sunlight that pierced the grimy windows, illuminating the tarnished grandeur of the space. And there, suspended from the ceiling, hung the chandelier, its once gleaming crystals dulled with time. A shiver ran down Eleanor's spine as she traced the outline of the crimson silk scarf that remained tethered to a hook, a chilling reminder of Amelia's final act. That night, the sobs returned, louder, more insistent. This time they were accompanied by the faint scent of lilies, Amelia's favorite flower, and the rustling of silk against wood. Sleep was a battleground, haunted by spectral visions of Amelia, her eyes pools of bottomless sadness, her lips whispering accusations that pierced Eleanor's heart. Driven by a morbid curiosity, Eleanor delved deeper into Amelia's story. She unearthed dusty newspaper clippings that spoke of a broken engagement, of mounting debts, and of a final, despairing letter addressed to a man named Alistair. With a pounding heart, she tracked Alistair down, a grizzled old man living in a secluded cabin near the shore. Alistair's eyes clouded over as he spoke of Amelia, his voice thick with regret. He had loved her, he confessed, but fear had held him back. He couldn't face the financial ruin, the whispers of Gesellschaft. He had left her, unaware of the depths of her despair. The revelation struck Eleanor like a physical blow. The ghost, she realized, wasn't seeking vengeance, but solace. Amelia was trapped, tethered to the hotel by the weight of her unaddressed pain, by the unanswered questions that gnawed at her soul. Determined to set Amelia free, Eleanor returned to the ballroom. The air crackled with spectral energy, the chandelier swaying ominously above. Tears streamed down her face as she spoke to the unseen Amelia, promising to tell her story, to give voice to her pain. She spoke of Alistair's regret, of his undying love, and of the life that could have been. As her words echoed through the silent hall, a soft, ethereal light began to emanate from the chandelier. The crimson scarf unfurled, swirling around Amelia's spectral form like a silken cocoon. Then, with a final heart-wrenching sob, the light intensified, blinding Eleanor for a moment. When her vision cleared, the ballroom was empty. The chandelier hung still, The crimson scarf vanished. The wind outside had quieted, replaced by a peaceful stillness. Eleanor sank to the floor, tears of relief mingling with the salty spray clinging to her cheeks. She had faced the weeping lady, not with fear, but with empathy, and in doing so, had set her soul free. The Grandview Hotel remained closed, a silent guardian of Amelia's story. But the whispers on the wind had changed. They were no longer cries of sorrow, but a gentle sigh of release, a lullaby sung by the sea for a soul finally at peace.
"5 years had passed since Eleanor's chilling encounter with Amelia's ghost, the Grandview Hotel still standing sentinel against the wind and waves, a mausoleum of faded grandeur. But the whispers hadn't truly quieted. They shifted, like the tide, murmuring of a new darkness. Ethan, a young, ambitious chef with dreams as bright as the setting sun, arrived at the hotel, lured by Silas's promise of rejuvenation and second chances. Room 213, now infamous, remained sealed, a morbid monument to Amelia's tragedy. Yet Ethan felt a strange pull towards it, an invisible thread whispering promises of something more. One stormy night, driven by morbid curiosity and a potent sense of destiny, Ethan broke the seal. The room was a time capsule of despair, dust dancing in the moonlight that crept through grimy windows. The faint scent of lilies hung heavy, and the chandeliers swayed in the draft, casting fleeting, accusatory shadows. In the alcove, beneath the chandelier, a single crimson silk scarf lay coiled on the floor like a discarded serpent. As Ethan reached for it, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the candle, plunging him into darkness. Panic clawed at his throat as a choked sob filled the air, the sound as tangible as a hand gripping his heart. Blinded, desperate, Ethan stumbled. His fingers brushed against something cold and smooth, the edge of a chair. Heart pounding, he fumbled for a match, the flame revealing a horrifying tableau. The chair hung empty, a rope dangling from the hook above. The crimson scarf knotted at the end. It swung gently, mimicking a spectral heartbeat. The next morning, screams shattered the hotel's silence. Ethan, pale and trembling, stood in the doorway of room 213, pointing at the scene. The night watchman, a gruff man named Mr. Davies, hung lifeless in the alcove, a chilling echo of Amelia's demise. The news spread like wildfire, whispers of a vengeful spirit, of room 213 claiming another soul. Panic gripped the hotel. Guests fled. Staff refused to enter the cursed room. But Ethan couldn't escape. He was drawn to the macabre melody of room 213, compelled to understand the darkness that pulsed within its walls. He pored over faded records, dusty newspapers, and forgotten letters, piecing together Amelia's tragic story. He learned of her unrequited love, her financial woes, the crushing despair that led her to that fateful night. He saw the same patterns woven into Ethan's life, the yearning for success, the gnawing self-doubt, the whispers of failure that echoed in the silence. One night, driven by a desperate empathy, Ethan returned to room 213. This time, he spoke not of fear, but of hope. He spoke of Amelia's legacy, not as a vengeful spirit, but as a cautionary tale. He spoke of second chances, of finding solace in life, not death. As his words filled the room, the air crackled with a strange energy. The chandelier stilled, bathed in an ethereal glow. The crimson scarf, draped in the alcove, seemed to shimmer, then fade into nothingness. The scent of lilies lingered, no longer a shroud of sadness, but a whisper of release. In the following days, a strange peace settled over the Grandview Hotel. The whispers remained, but their tone had changed. They spoke not of tragedy, but of acceptance, a mournful serenade for a soul finally at rest. Ethan left the hotel, his culinary dreams still alive, but tinged with a newfound humility. He carried the memory of room 213, not as a place of horror, but as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the power of empathy in the face of despair. The Grandview Hotel stands still, a weathered sentinel against the sea. Room 213 remains undisturbed, a testament to a tragedy and a redemption. The whispers continue, now a gentle lullaby for two souls set free, carried on the wind, echoing the eternal dance of life and death, hope and despair.